Hello everybody, this is Zerda with Zerda MTG, and today I'm here to bring you another round of historic gameplay. So today I finally think I've found a playable grixis list that falls into what I want to be doing with grixis. That being, casting 5-drop Bolas and the Eldest Reborn. I think those are two very, very powerful cards. I'm just not sure I want to max out on either. Maybe I drop one Eldest Reborn for one more Dragon God, but Eldest Reborn being able to get back Dragon God, or my opponent's best creature, which could be an Ulamog, let's be honest. Not very likely, but there's pretty high upside to both of them. Not sure if I want to go above 6 5-drops, not sure which one I'd rather max out on if I am to max out on one. 4 mana Bolas, another card I really like playing. Especially with Eldest Reborn, because you play it early, get a card out of their hand, they end up killing it inevitably. Or it ends up, trading or eating something in combat, and eventually it goes away, get it back. Which is huge value, because get another card out of their hand and the Eldest Reborn, chaining it all is insane. And generally the turn you get it back, you can flip it into an absolutely absurd Planeswalker. And if you ever get Nico Bolas Arisen onto the field, the game is basically just yours. There's not much your opponent can do from there. You get to just +2 to draw 2 cards, 10 damage any creature or planeswalker, so just answer 1 threat. Reanimate whatever you feel like, which if it's Dragon God, then you get to continue doing this card's abilities, and even, using its plus instead to race to that -8. And -12 is, just straight up win the game, whatever. So this card is absolutely crazy if you ever get to flip it. It's basically just an I win button, and it's also good on raid as a 4-mana 4/4 that takes a card out of their hand and flies. So I'm a big fan. Extinction Event I think is the best sweeper in black, at least in historic. There was some thought given to playing, the red sweeper, 4 damage to everything in each planeswalker. I decided that I'd rather have a sweeper that I could use to not kill my own things and exile Uros and such. So I went with Extinction Event. I think the upside's just huge. 2 Chupacabra, pretty big tempo play. If we get to slam this on 4, kill a creature, block with it, kill another creature, that's a pretty big game. So we're playing 2 Chupacabra. I could be convinced that these should be Vraska's Contempts, just a way to gain any life in this deck would be nice, as would another exile removal. If I were to do that, I think I'd play 1 Storm's Wrath. 3 Murderous Rider. I suppose this is a way to gain life, also a way to lose it pretty steadily. But hey, it's the closest thing we have to actual factual Heroes Downfall, and that's why I'm playing it. Also, it has upside of, being a creature when you need it to be. So, 3 Murderous Rider. I think 4 would be a little too greedy. I could be wrong there. Maybe I want to go up to 4. 2 Bone Crusher Giant, just to have something to do with our early game mana as well as a threat to deploy. Because that's going to be a recurring theme, is we need threats to deploy. So threat, 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 and threat. But the reason we need threats to deploy is we're not exactly going to win any battles on, just removal spells in this format. I think you need to be proactive. And adventure creatures, Chupacabra and 4-drop Bolas, are kind of our ways to be proactive here. 3 Mystical Dispute, because, well, this is historic, this is modern day Magic. You play Mystical Dispute and you are happy about it. Basically using this to stop any kind of Teferi nonsense, which, bouncing Elspeth Conquers, which is a great card against Eldest Reborn, sadly. And a very surefire way for us to lose. But mostly it's here just counter any kind of nonsense our opponent might be doing. At some point in the game, it will be relevant. And, just use it as a counterspell. What else can I say about it? Sometimes it's 1 mana, sometimes it's 3. It's always serviceable, at least. 3 Thassa's Intervention. The reason I'm playing the full 3, well, I shouldn't say full, but, the reason I'm playing 3 instead of something a little more mana efficient or a little bit more powerful in terms of card draw is I wanted more interaction on the stack specifically. I don't have too much of that outside Dispute, obviously. Which, I mean, none outside of Dispute, except for the Intervention. and I also wanted to play card draw. And well, this is basically the only card that does both jobs that I wanted it to do. It's not exactly stellar at either job, but it is serviceable at both jobs. On turn 3, it can be technically a cancel unless your opponent's playing a 1-drop. And on turn 4, it can be a 4-mana draw 2 at instant speed, not winning any awards there. And it scales up nicely except as a counterspell. The card selection can be kind of nice. And honestly, all we really needed to do is find one of our big threats at some point in the game, if it's not just countering things. 3 copies of Angrath's Rampage, because, well, I really need answers to the Fairy Hero of Dominaria. That card is fairly absurd, and I'd rather have some 2-mana answers to it so that I can both attempt to answer and hold up a counterspell, or hold up another threat of some kind afterwards, and force that. But also, it's an answer to artifacts and creatures, so this is our 2-drop removal spell of choice, next to Bone Crusher Giant. For Agonizing Remorse, I don't think you can get away with playing, what's it called, the Dimir one that lets you Surveil. I would love to believe that you could, but I think Graveyard Hate and just exiling so that you can not have to deal with an Uro that might even just be in the opponent's hand is really big game. I don't want to have to face down an Uro that keeps coming back. I want my discard spell to hit the threat, not to merely put it in the graveyard where they're happy to wait until it eventually kills you with overwhelming card advantage. Also, Cat Oven is still a thing on occasion. This is better against things, or against decks that play Search Frost Contour, although that is not even really a consideration, just, you know, a statement. I just think the exile is huge. Losing a life sucks, but not exiling I think sucks more, so that's where we're at. It's also really nice to curve this into hold up a counterspell into a Bowl Loss or a Bow Loss, or just play it before. I feel you do want discard, and I feel this is the one you want. And then we have 2 copies of Disfigure. The reason we're playing 2 copies of Disfigure and not something like a Shock or something like that is the -2/-2 is more relevant if it doesn't kill the creature and you're buying yourself a turn, at which point you're in a bad spot. But hey, that is a corner case, as well as the fact that it kills things like Adonto Vanguard, which is a much, much greater concern, and you know, just deals with indestructible threats. It'll also allow us to potentially save our own creatures in combat. Just -2/-2 a little more flexible, and I don't think we're going to need the damage. 2 damage isn't that much when that's all you're getting out of it in a kind of control-y deck. It can occasionally kill things like a Teferi, but I feel our opponent's going to be just mono upticking a Teferi against us, and we have other answers to Planeswalkers anyway. So I figured, hey, let's play things that actually deal with cards that we otherwise would have to counter or Extinction Event away. I guess our Eldest Reborn, or continuously uptick Nico Bolas until it's the only thing they have, but let's be honest about the chances of that working, right? Anyway, moving on to the mana base. This is a incredibly greedy mana base, because I am an incredibly greedy individual. We're first up only running 25 lands in a deck that really hopes to hit a 5-drop on turn 5, so, you know, super greed there. And then our mana base is just every shock and check land that we have in our colors, and a single Memorial to Genius because I wanted one more land, and apparently I didn't care if it came into play tapped or synergized at all with the tap lands. If I'm going to be completely honest, the first thing I should be doing here is playing 2 basics, probably a swamp and an island. Or just 2 swamps, honestly. But I'm greedy. That will come to haunt us in the upcoming video, I can almost assure you. Please don't be me. Play the correct number of lands. This deck should probably be at 26, maybe 27. Hell, maybe if I even just like played 2 more Memorial to Genius, or the black one that I think sacrifices creatures or returns them to your hand. Just, you know, something besides just 1 Memorial as an addition to an otherwise fairly painful mana base. In any case, that is the deck. Let's run headfirst into some gameplay, and hope that we don't lose miserably. Just a note, I don't actually think that any version of Grixis in Historic is particularly good. I think its mana base is too greedy. It's not powerful enough to beat things like Field of the Dead, although Bolas upticking can win games against that. Alright, I'll keep this one. Removal, discard cards I want to eventually hit, and at least 3 lands. If you don't have at least 3 lands in this, or in an opening hand with this deck, absolutely mulligan it. Unless you have some kind of absurd sweep, or absurd interaction and you know what you're against. Uh-oh. Black deck, watch out. Yeah, I have no double blue I want on turn 2. Suppose it... Oh, okay. Good. Not mono black. That would have been kind of awkward. Suppose I will still Agonizing Remorse here. Be a bit awkward if I want to hold up Mystic Dispute. Phew. Elder Spell. Well, that's interesting. So's the Walker. So's the Cauldron Familiar. I really kind of want to get rid of that Cauldron Familiar. Ramp, though. Elder Spell's going to be really annoying here. Because I want to slam that Bolas at some point, but I don't think I can afford to care about that now. So, get rid of the biggest threat they have. Let them ramp. I imagine it's going to be Beanstalk Giant. Yep. Alright. So, they definitely know something's up if I feel they're just going to ramp again, and I don't mind. Dispute might not be its best at dealing with absurd amounts of mana. However, I think that they have big enough threats that it doesn't much matter. We have answers to their creatures, and if they cast Beanstalk Giant, then we'll dispute that. There we go. A real shame we're not going to be able to just Nico Bolas Dragon God here because of Elder Spell, and because we didn't hit a land, obviously, but, you know. Plan for success. Okay. Well, this is awkward. We drew all 3 extinction events. Elder Spell is Destroy. So I'm gonna get greedy. I'm gonna just Nico Bolas. And the plan is to Eldest Reborn it back at some point.
All of the multiverse will bend to my will.
I think it's entirely worth Cantrip plus Exile plus Elder Spell out of their hand. Just play it as a 3-for-1. Take your card advantage where you can get it. And then Eldest Reborning it back will be pretty nice too. Nice, we even hit the cat.
Your weak minds crumble.
As long as they don't also Vraska this turn, we're good. Okay. By all means. Hope they play a threat so that the Eldest Reborn actually hits all of its nodes. Alas, is not the case. Make sure that I remember exactly how Vraska is worded. 3 or less. They could have other Vraska, at which point I would infinitely prefer. So here, kind of tempted to just hold up Thassa's Intervention, honestly. Dig 4 cards deep. Yeah. Just getting greedy, attempting to hit something else with Eldest Reborn as well. Instead of holding up a counterspell for a huge threat. Nice. I'll take Eldest and Murderous. I should probably have taken the land, but alas, I am not the least greedy person I know. I still have to discard. I have a very strong feeling I will not need 3 copies of Extinction Event this game. Next turn I'll play Dragon, or Nico Bolas the Ravager. Unless they do something that absolutely demands my attention. Oof, casualties of war. Alright. That's annoying. Should have known that was coming, though. Their green-black ramp deck. What else were they gonna do? Alright, let's take some more cards out of their hand first. I don't want to expose my last copy of Eldest Reborn. If I'm not gonna be able to protect it. Oh, by all means, do resolve Heartless Act. You are still discarding. Gotta love your card advantage. I am very concerned that my opponent isn't... I think them not waiting to casualties is a pretty good indicator that they don't have it. They could have an Assassin's Trophy or something. I don't know. Pretty sure they don't even have an Assassin's Trophy. I'll deploy this as a creature. Attempt to deploy some amount of pressure. Very much hope that I'll be able to get back. That would probably be too greedy. Especially because it can't flip this turn. Alright, so it costs 7. I don't have 7. Bring back best Nicobolas. Uptick.
Remake the multiverse in my image.
Opponent gets rid of one of their cards.
I outsmarted you eons ago.
Hit them for 2. 4. And deploy as a threat. End turn. Sadly, another Elder Spell.
Schemes have been foiled.
But that is why we double deployed. Hit them for as much damage as we can muster, as quickly as we can muster. Proceed to simply deploy threats. This way I'm still presenting a fast clock, even if they kill a creature. Otherwise that would be 4 turns as opposed to 3, assuming they kill Bone Crusher. Although no, that wouldn't even be 3, that would be because they would take 2. Won't be. Proceed to keep a 2-turn clock on them. Hit opponent for a lot. Spot removal on Bone Crusher will no longer do it if they take this hit. So they won't be able to just triple spot removal us. And this is why we wanted things like Bone Crusher and Murderous Rider over things like Bedevil and Shocks, or even, what's it called? Fiery... Oh, good game. The 2 mana, 3 damage, 2 creature or planeswalker, exile it if it dies. Because in games like this, we want to be able to just deploy threats and end up killing our opponent. We like that kind of versatility. It allows us to play a more mid-range game. And gives us inherent card advantage. If you kill something with Bone Crusher and then deploy Bone Crusher, that is basically you had a free shock effect. Overpriced, yes, but just a free effect like that is pretty powerful. This is an immensely greedy hand that I'm going to keep. I have interaction, I have a decent amount of interaction, and I have card advantage. It's a shame it all starts on turn 3. Generally, you want to start on turn 2 in this deck, but that was a mistake. Can I Control Z that? Nope. I should have played the Steam Vents first. That can come back to bite me depending on what I draw. It doesn't, luckily. If they search for Azcanta, I will 100% mystical dispute it. No, it is not worth deploying a Murderous Rider here. I'm not positive that they're Nexus yet. Alright, I know what they are. And... or at least I assume I know what they are. And to me... to me it's likely to be Field of the Dead. At which point I just kind of want to deploy my threats as quickly as I can. And hold up Mystical Dispute here. I am hard telegraphing that I have Mystical Dispute, by the way. Field of Rune. Hope they don't activate that before I can slam this Nico Bolas. In other words, please, please, by the Lord, let me draw it this turn. Alright, thank whatever deity you believe or do not believe in. This is basically our best bet against them. Because it will eventually manage to start eating away at their lands. And eating away at their lands is going to be our best way to beat them.
No weakness I cannot exploit.
Alright, so as long as we survive this turn with Bolas down, we gain the ability to keep up Mystical Dispute, and that's going to be pretty big. Oof. Okay, and so it begins. This is the beginning of the end. Plus... we really need an extinction event. You really gonna Field of Rune me right now? Huh. Alright, drew another red source. That's a relief.
My schemes are never-ending.
Alright, so as soon as they learn the fact that we don't have any basics, this is gonna go very, very poorly for us. I'll deploy another Bolas. Hopefully they don't realize that activating Field of... actually, I don't think they can get a... they'll wait until next turn, I think. Because I don't... unless I'm counting absolutely horribly, I'm pretty sure they don't get a zombie if they do it this turn. Block. Block. Alright.
But a drop of power.
Well, at least we drew a card, right? Don't play a land, please, opponent. Dang. Now they can also activate Field of Rune. Deploy Eldest Reborn. Make them sacrifice one of their zombies. I imagine they'll field. No? Alright, too smart for that. We get to start eating away at their lands, though. So this is where we wanted to be. We got them to an empty board, and now Nico Bolas draws us cards while eating their mana base, which will eventually shut off the Field of the Dead. At that point, we just completely take over the game. And they didn't Field of Rune, so now they can't Field of Rune. This is, by the way, why we should definitely play basics, because they have basically a strip mine that doesn't even cost them mana. Photo red. Resolve. Decline. Maybe we should have Bone Crushered there. We didn't. Oh ho ho. Okay, that's a problem. We're gonna Murderous Rider it, but they're getting... No, they can't get another Field of the Dead. Or they can and just not do anything with it. Well, either way. Uptick Bolas. Exile a forest.
Witness a mote of my power.
I could play another Bolas and uptick, but that seems way too greedy. So instead, I'm going to Murderous Rider, kill Golos. I don't want a surprise Golos activation happening to me. And I could activate, but I'm going to hold up Mystical Dispute here. Just so I can counter a second Golos. Alright. This should be the end of it. Bolas upticks, we get to play a land. Bring back the best creature in the yard. Probably our other Bolas. Yep, bring back other Bolas. Or maybe they're Golos. Being able to ramp up isn't the worst. Now, in any case, that's basically what we wanted to do against the field deck, is use Bolas as basically smokestack. So, a one-sided Howling Mine / smokestack. Which is an absolutely brutal effect, which I'm sure you know if you've ever played against it or with it. Interacting at the same time you're drawing cards is kind of busted. Okay, so this is a complete and utter disgrace of a hand we're mulling. Oh, perfect. Tap land, untap land. Painless draw here. I suppose, So, I think I'm gonna get rid of Dispute. No. It's Dispute or Extinction Event here, because I'm not getting rid of our only threat and card advantage in this hand. Even if it's not continued card advantage, it does start pulling us ahead, which we need, especially on a mole. I'm gonna bin the Extinction Event and hope that we can curve this out with Agonizing Remorse, Mystical Dispute, Bolas. Hey, looks like I bottomed the right one anyway, because now I get to keep all of them. Uh-oh. Gruul. I'll gladly take 2. Deploy Sulphur Falls. See if I can hit their Spellbreaker here. I can hit a Spellbreaker here. Maybe I should have taken Lightning Strike, so that I could have countered the second Spellbreaker. Alas, I did not. I think I deploy Spellbreak or Bone Crusher here. Yeah, I think I just deploy it and plan to trade. There's a chance they just Lightning Strike it. I'm not entirely opposed to that. Them doing this ensures they don't Questing Beast me, which I suppose I kind of wanted them to. Alright. Go to 1. Extinction Event doesn't cut it anymore. Pretty sure nothing I have cuts it now. Alas, kind of needed that Spellbreaker to die there. And I lose. Now, that is the downside of Extinction Event, where Ritual of Soot would have been able to win me the game. Maybe I should play a split, but I don't exactly think it's worth it for something that's not going to come up too often, and the upside of being able to exile is pretty big. Alright, so running it back. Yeah, not being able to actually kill the Spellbreaker really hurt us. Murderous Rider, having been drawn instead, would have been huge as well, but alas. Alright, completely painless. Have some pretty big upside for this hand in Eldest Reborn. Ooh, Fervent Champion. I don't think turn 2 discard spell is where I want to be against mono red. Oh no, by all means, that resolves. Oh, but they move into combat before I can react? Nope, okay. Kill Robber of the Rich. Just hold up Mystic Dispute here. I also get to hold up Disfigure, because this is a big turn for the mono-red deck. Alright, I will Disfigure away. Weird they didn't play anything. A concession? Well, that is a very hasty concession. Alright though. We take those. We take those. Claim prize. Let's go back into a little bit more ranked. See if we can escape Diamond. Get into the real competition. On the play, pretty painful hand. Against a Luris deck, I have a Remorse. Rampage isn't great, Tube is pretty good. Dispute can be, depending on what their draw's like. Hopefully this is just the cycling deck, although I doubt it. This is the cycling deck, we're good off. Nope, alas. There be gutter bones. Let's try and take their best card. That would definitely be Dreadhorde Butcher. Alright. There's a castle. I think I'm gonna be happy to lose the card advantage here to gain 2 life. And play a tap land, so I'll go ahead and if they want, they can get it back, but either way, or if they do, I waste their turn. And then next turn I can hold up Dispute to make things a little better. Hopefully I can instead just deploy a Bolas, something they can't claim, and that helps stonewall them. Looks like a Bolas. Tube isn't bad, but it's definitely not where I want to be yet. I also really don't like shocking myself there, but I think it was correct. Guess here I'm hoping they don't play Priest and claim it. They could go oof. Alright, Kroxa. This is why we play exile cards. I'll bin the Dispute. I'm more likely to want the intervention. Let's see, how many cards in their yard? 2. Yeah, I'll drop a Tube here. No? No, I think I'll hold up Thassa's intervention. No, wait, cancel that attack. No attack. I was trying to click through and almost made a disastrous misplay. Really hope I get to just draw some cards here. Excellent. Look at the top 3. Excellent. And I guess I'll take Murderous Rider because I want it as a creature. At some point, not yet obviously. Oh, and there's the game. Some debate if I should have taken Disfigure so I could have played Chupacabra, killed one creature, disfigured the other, but I think my turn was pretty well lined up with Nico Bolas there. Getting that down and just starting to overpower my opponent is definitely a key component of winning here, and I didn't want to exactly speed up the Croxa instead of advancing my own game state. Having a life-linking threat is also very big. Claim the Firstborn did in fact make it awkward, but it was something I was going to have to deal with at some point, given my opponent was more than willing to keep it in their hand when I played the Bolas. I think, however, the other Bolas was likely to take it out of their hand before I deployed the Rider. Alright, excellent. Tap land on tap lands. Bolas interaction on the play. I love this hand. The only thing it's missing is some discard. Alright. Let's see if I get to shock something at their end step. Alright, I didn't assume so. Holding up Thassa's intervention here. Trying to ferry me, please. Fibblethip. Okay. I am confused, but not infinitely. Fibblethip is a card that sees a decent amount of play. It's just a cantrip. Pretty sure I'll get disputed if I drop the Bolas, but Eldritch Reborn makes me not really care. Ah. Alright. More than happy to have Bolas resolve. Alright, so apparently my opponent's somewhat flooded. Is this 5 color? Oh, is this Kethis combo? Uh-oh. I don't know, by all means, do deploy to Fairy. Oh, this is definitely Kethis combo if they were considering that attack. Oh no, by all means, ferry me. Oh boy. Okay. Okay. So this is a double Bone Crusher turn. First up, Bone Crusher their Teferi.
You just let me know if you're up for round 2.
Second up, Bone Crusher their Emry. And now we have 8 power waiting in the wings if we draw a land. Although I think we'll instead... Oh boy, Kethis. Oh boy. This is where this not being spot removal kind of hurts us. And by kind of, I mean really. Oh, okay. It's just a fairy. That we're fine with.
No, I am not making this up as I go.
I'm used to this being the, well, I guess it's both. Alright. Kinda used to this being the blue-red deck with, Underworld Reach, but Kethis is still incredibly powerful. Wish I had you earlier, Dispute. Alright. Eldest Reborn does not get there right now. Neither exactly does Bolas, though. Huh. What's in their bin that they might do to me? Alright, so the thing they're doing to me is gonna be Uro. We didn't draw the land, so this Bolas isn't the greatest. Playing Bolas might make everything worse. This is a tough turn. I'm not entirely sure there is a correct sequence here. I guess if there is, it involves Angrass Rampage, sacrifice a Planeswalker. And if exile, I still can't dispute. So then I would be deploying Bolas. Or sorry, Bone Crusher. so I don't just lose 2 Kethis beats. At least Emery's not bringing anything back right now. Although if they tap it for mana and play another Mox Amber, it will be. But at least then Emery is only a mana dork. Alright. Expected. Not the end of the world to just have an Oath of Kaya down. Hopefully we can make them eat up some cards trying to keep that Teferi around. Pretty sure Kethis combo is a bad matchup though. Like, we have Exile, but unless I draw... Alright, so unless I draw Extinction Event here, I'm pretty far out of this game. If I do draw Extinction Event though, I'm not in a bad spot at all. It's not Extinction Event. Playing the land though. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Alright, they have an Oath of Kaya in their yard. Debating if I can just Thassa's Intervention at end step. It puts me in a very, very dangerous position of being straight up dead to an Oath of Kaya. But I don't see a better route towards winning this game. I don't think just deploying Eldest Reborn here is very good. So I think giving ourselves, 5 chances at finding our best card in this situation is the best we can do. Alright, so now we're not dead to Oath of Kaya. Which is definitely a relief. Right, now we are... By all means, start your combo. I do not mind. The combo isn't what I'm afraid of here. What I'm afraid of is them putting a lot of power into play. Which I suppose is also being afraid of the combo. Alright, resolve that. Alright, so... yeah, I've got to dig. I can't afford not to dig. And I can't afford not to dig as deep as I can, I think. Actually, yeah, I can't afford not to dig as deep as I can. I can't counter Teferi anyway. And not being able to counter Teferi just means that Mystic Dispute does nothing. This also means that, Kaya. Alright, so we found the Extinction Event, probably far too late. And I'll also take the Disfigure, because I think it's also going to be key to deal with at least one of their threats post-extinction.
Right on schedule.
Alright. Hopefully they don't double Kaya me right now.
Here we go.
Oh, they're going to double Kaya me. Alright. I don't even have next turn. Maybe I just had to counter the Teferi. Yeah, I should have... I knew I had to, I just didn't actually pay attention. Alright, so we lose here. So be it. Not being aware that it's Kethis, you know, being playing against in best of one, that's gonna happen to you sometimes. You're just gonna get completely outvalued and you're going to get comboed. By I'm not too worried about the combo, I meant I'm not too worried about the full combo, because I didn't notice they just had the full combo there. I thought that I would get partial comboed where they just deploy a lot of threats. I'll keep this because of the interaction and bow loss, but I'm not happy about this if I'm not playing against something like mono red. Or mono white. Affinity, basically. So, lead on untapped Watery Grave, I guess. Because I need to be able to beat all the glitters. Okay. Absolutely not. That is not acceptable. It's not a card I will accept you having. It's definitely awkward that Angress Rampage is so bad against this deck. Oh boy. So, at least I'm gonna get to, I wasn't aware they sometimes played Mecha Godzilla. Disfigure Ornithopter, Rampage away at the Mecha Godzilla. Or Crystalline Giant. The card that has all of the abilities. Sacrifice a creature. It's not going to deal with the artifact shenanigans. Enters tapped. And we pass it back. Another Blast Zone. Those could be annoying at some point. Ugh, throw multi. Nope. Tap land. Swift End. Yes, we would have rather Ravagered here, but we will deal with the threats as they come down and conserve as much of our life total as we... preserve, not conserve. As much of our life total as physically possible. Bow loss for no value, or bow loss for all the value. No value bow loss, apparently. Are they like a more controlling version of this deck? That's kind of cool, I guess. Maybe it was better to deploy the Murderous Rider. Oh, in this case, if they drop in all that glitters, I'm able to trade. So I think I made the right call. Huh. Well, that's cool. Not sure I'd play it, but it's cool. Alright, there we go. Now our opponent is basically out of this game. We'll uptick first. See if they exile Ornithopter. Alright, now we can attack.
I outsmarted you eons ago.
Labyrinth is fine. Uh-oh. Alright, that's a problem. Oh. Okay. Whew. Got really lucky there. Cannot actually interact with that. Cannot yet flip. Should have plussed first. Alas.
You have no weakness I cannot exploit.
Alright, so this is going to be great as we get to go absolutely absurd next turn by flipping this with a Dragon God in play. We'll deploy the Murderous Rider. We don't actually care if they Ratchet Bomb that away. That is fine. Tempered Steel is also fine. So I'm kind of sad that we're going to have to defend our Bolas here. But, so be it. I wouldn't be surprised if that prompted a concession. We'll hit them for 6, then flip Bolas. Activate. And if this doesn't prompt it, then nothing will prompt the possession.
Kneel before your
Let's see.
God.
Anything else I can do? Yep, draw 2. Next turn, we can alt it.
I know all there is to know.
Draw another 2 cards.
I always have an answer.
So the opponent absolutely needs haste and a way to get some damage into that Bolas, or they're straight up dead. Alright, they're able to damage our Bolas. Maybe we just shouldn't have attacked. For shame. Yep, have to attack that one.
Playing hero, are we?
Ah, up to 5. Alright, so I think we're going to destroy that, then bring it back. Gingerbread.
Your existence is pointless.
Bring back from my graveyard. Dragon God. Draw 2 cards.
Bow before Nicole Bolas. Everything is power, and I
Sulfur Falls.
am everything.
Deploy a second Ravager. And this time we'll be smart about it and not just attack here. So that we'll be able to hold up a blocker and removal. Yeah, that cost us quite a bit there. Oh no, by all means. Feel free.
Wipe your bloodline from existence.
I will just do it again next turn. Alright. Go for it, opponent. How many cards are left? Need to be careful about that. Let's go ahead and Murderous Rider. Kill one of their guys. Alright, so here, because I want to use my mana for other things, I will once again bring back Dragon God. Maybe I should just be +1-ing, but I like the pressure of ulting super fast.
Immortal Nicole Bolas will be. I am
Tap land.
omnipotent.
I could activate... What? Yeah. I think I like attacking here. Not activating because I have my opponent dead to another attack from it as well. And just deploying more Murderous Riders. End turn, get rid of Agonizing Remorse. I gave some thought to Eldest Reborning, but decided this is probably fine. Not too much our opponent can do here. No, by all means. All that glitters. Does not matter in the slightest. And there we have game. After your 11-13, we have a double Bolas out. And yeah, I think I absolutely should have been eating away at my opponent's board there. I think I got too focused on trying to ult and lost track of the fact that we'd actually done a decent amount of damage to our opponent. And that they'd also done a decent amount of damage to themselves. Alright, so this here is going to be the last game for today. Just need to do some other things. Don't want to spend all day on Arena here. Alright, interaction to double counterspell. Pretty painless hand. I absolutely adore it. No card advantage outside of Thassa's intervention, but that's no big problem. Ideally, we'll be able to go Angrath's Rampage into a Thassa's intervention here. Or sorry, into a dispute here. Another reason for Agonizing Remorse, by the way, over the blue one I can't remember the name of, is, well, you can't get Mystical Disputed on your discard spell for 1 mana. There we go, creature. Alright. Storm Tamer again. Here we get to Rampage again. Although sadly, will be less effective than we would like. And we'll play the Sulphur Falls. We'll hold up Dispute, and we will really hope to draw something to do with our mana. Be it a Ravenous Chupacabra, a Bolas, or what have you. If I had a Bolas, I'd give some thought to holding on to the Dispute instead of firing it off on whatever threat they play here, or on my end step. But, oh, absolutely not, if I can stop it. I don't think I'll be able to, but... oh, that's a relief. I was worried they also had a Dispute there. I feel it's safe to say they don't have Dispute, although they could have just been reading the Bolas. Alright. And I feel we have taken the driver's seat. Mono Blue has a pretty hard time against big card advantage creatures that they want to get off the board but don't want to bounce. Alright. I'm not at a low enough life total for these hits to matter without card advantage. Pass turn. There is tech that I could be worried about here, but as of now, I'm not. Just passing the turn, absolutely not attacking. If they try to Brazen Bounce, I will Thassa's. That is fine. I'll disfigure it now, so they can't Storm Tamer save it. Especially considering that is their best creature. Some debate to just drawing 2 here. I think I'm gonna. If I get them to use their counters on this instead of removal in the future, I'm happy with that. And I do need the card advantage, I'm falling behind on lands. Alright, Spell Pierce, no worries. So I can lose Bolas here. Not too worried about it. I'll swing, shock, attempt to transform, hope I don't get Brazen Bounced. And I don't.
My power, my knowledge is endless.
So I think putting the Bolas on the board is definitely where I want to be. The opponent cannot just ignore it.
Maybe of some use to me.
And it pulls us so far ahead. Let's go ahead and actually Extinction Event name even here. still holding up Dispute for any, Intervention, I suppose, for any 2-drop threat. Still hits Borrower. And that's game. It's pretty hard to deal with a Nico Bolas the Arisen. Especially given I've already drawn 4 cards on them. And it's only getting worse from there. Alright, so that was Historic Grixis Control. I think the deck ended up better than I thought it was. Not sure how much of that was people not knowing how to play against it, because, you know, Grixis isn't something that shows up too often. Now, I do kind of wish, on occasion, that these were, you know, spot removal spells. However, I feel the Rampage is kind of a necessary evil, because we need ways to deal with Planeswalkers, and while we don't need all of our removal to deal with Planeswalkers, we do need to at least draw one, and maxing out, I feel, is the way to do that. Especially when our Sweeper isn't the one that would also help us there. Not primarily to protect our own walkers, but because, well, we need to exile. You also saw Ritual of Soot could be pretty good in the space of one of these. I'm not sure how much better it would be to have the small chance of drawing it when it's better, versus the small chance of drawing it when we absolutely need to exile an Uro or similar threat. And you saw that against the Uro deck, if we'd been a little bit, or against the Kethis deck, if we'd been a little bit faster, had a little bit more interaction, we'd have been able to survive that, and Extinction Event would have been a huge part of that, because of the exile. Against Gruul, you saw that, you know, not hitting every creature every time can be pretty backbreaking if your opponent has a fast start, though. So that's the truth of it. You saw Eldest Reborn be pretty good in some games, and just a little too slow in others. Being an Edict at 5 mana can be a little rough, especially when you absolutely need it to, you know, deal with whatever's happening. Nico Bolas Dragon God, you saw, comes down and just starts to absolutely dominate the game. This card is absurd. And if you have a Ravager and you get to just forever do that, that's also really good. Remorse, you didn't really see it come up for the exile. The life loss was pretty relevant, which is unfortunate. However, I do feel the exile alone is very important in this format, thus the extinction events over, you know, anything else. Disfigure, you also saw, allows us to play a tap land on turn 1, even against red decks, and still be able to interact on turn 2, as opposed to taking even more damage to play another removal spell. Tubes didn't really do too much today. I'm going to test it out a little bit more. Maybe I don't actually need Chupacabra. Maybe I play another Dragon God there. I think I do want to max out on Dragon Gods. After playing this, it's way, way better than I was giving it credit for. Although, I'm not sure if I actually want to, you know, draw multiple each game, or if I just want to draw one and deploy it at the time it's most likely to survive. Maybe I play another Bone Crusher or another Murderous Rider. Maybe I play a little bit more interaction of another kind, or even some kind of card advantage. Maybe, I don't think Narset's exactly the best in a deck whose removal is creatures. But, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what I'll do. But I do think Tubes might be on the cutting block. Maybe I even play more Disfigure, maybe I play something else. I think the card's strong, so I'm going to give it a little bit longer. But, yeah. Anyway, that wraps up today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. And remember, you can definitely play a better mana base than this. This one isn't exactly the least greedy. I should play more lands. In fact, that's what I'll do. If I end up cutting the Tubes, I will cut them for more lands. Anyway, have a nice day.